Hello beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on some seed starting. So it is that time of the year. We need to start concentrating on what we are going to be doing for our fall garden. And in this case, I'm going to be doing some cabbage and some broccoli because these guys are going to take the longest to come up. Now for us, honestly, the fall is almost our highest harvest, highest garden season, believe it or not. This is the time of the year when I am probably the most excited for what I'm bringing in because we eat so much cold crop here that honestly it is a bit more valuable to me even than just the summer garden. As beautiful as a summer garden is to my heart and to my soul, really my jam is the fall garden, and I kind of want to show you this year how much is possible. But in order to do that, we do need to get a little bit of a jump start. Now that being said, cold crops do not typically like to grow during this time of the season just because they do like the cooler temperatures. However, the caveat to that is the lower the light level, the slower things grow on. So right now, the reason that it is so important to get these seeds started on these crops is because we've got a lot of light. So it is really, really important that in the really young stage, they have the light that they need to be able to grow on, to be able to germinate and start getting some size on them before the fall hits, because the light's gonna kind of start to dim. It's gonna be light out less. You know, our evenings are gonna get longer and darker, and really it's going to slow down your crop production. And that's really what the fall does. That's what the winter does, is a lower light level, cooler temperatures, and of course, more of a settled time for the plants. So we're gonna go on ahead and we are going to get these seeds started. I'm gonna flip you around and I'm gonna show you how exactly we are going to do that right now. All right, so I have my little pots here filled with potting soil. So what I have is some Copenhagen Market cabbage. Now this is a compact type of a cabbage, but it's really good for salads, for sauerkraut, coleslaw, whatever you want to do, really. It's a very good all-purpose cabbage, but I really like it because of the tighter head. Supposedly, this variety is where a lot of our modern varieties have ended up coming from, but you know, who knows? There's probably a variety before this one, even. Now, since we are doing these in pots, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to make a little dimple in each corner, and I'm going to basically be putting a seed in each of these corners. I don't need the dimple real deep because it's not a very big seed. So if I notice any air pockets, I'll just tamp it down, add a little bit more soil, and we're just gonna keep doing that. So the goal is just to basically have a spot where the seed can kind of rest. Think of it like a little bit of a bed. Keeps it in place, essentially. I don't want these seeds moving around too much. They are on the smaller side. And what I will be doing is basically what I do with all of my seeds, in fact, which is I will divide these out after they have gotten some size on them. So this is a really good way to save space in the initial stages, particularly when you don't have a whole lot of, say, seed starting space. Like we have a very, very tiny greenhouse. So there's not a whole lot of extra space. So if you do have the space to do only one per container, then by all means go on ahead and do one per container, but that's just not feasible for us. So I'm just carefully putting these seeds in. You can see they are like super duper tiny seeds, right? So I will more than likely get 2 in each of these little dimples, but that's okay. However, another good small space alternative for cabbage would be like a Napa cabbage. So that's really, really vertical in structure, right? And a little bit narrower. So it would be a really good crop to actually put in something like the green stalk. And I may go ahead and seed start some of those as well. Now, Napa cabbage do come on pretty quickly. I treat them more like I would say kale or spinach. And I'm a little bit less, I guess you could say, diligent in the seed starting, just because there's a lot in one package. So there's like 300 grams, and they're basically the same size, so they look almost exactly the same. But like I said, they do have a tighter head, so if you are really, really strapped for space, then this may be a good option for you instead of even just a traditional cabbage type thing. Going to do, I've got some Romanesco broccoli. I had totally forgotten that I had that in there, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. I actually enjoy the Romanesco, sort of a nice cross between a broccoli and a cauliflower. So it has the mildness of a cauliflower, but it tastes like broccoli, but it also has a firmer texture like cauliflower. So for me, I just enjoy that. I've also got some mini broccoli that I'm going to do here in just a second. And it's kind of a hybrid from Johnny's Seeds, so it'll be interesting to see how it comes on, and I will probably be adding that to the green stalk actually, instead of putting it in one of the beds. And I'll put the bigger things like the Copenhagen market cabbage and the Romanesco broccoli in our main beds, and I'll probably put other cole crops like the kohlrabi and our beets and turnips in our raised beds. So that'll be a really good addition as well. Now that that small broccoli is also good as a cut and come again. So that means you can kind of cut on it, and then you'll end up having some stuff come up on the side, so you'll kind of get like a side shoot off of the main. I'll try and show that to you if I can get them to grow on and not end up with them being eaten by bugs. That's usually my biggest struggle when it comes to broccoli starts, is the bugs just seem to like to mange on my broccoli starts. But they usually end up with this type of a side shoot, so you basically get more than one cutting off of them, which they tell you, and this is something to take into consideration with cold crops. Cold crops are basically a one and done, so think of it as a crop that is one seed equals one cabbage head, okay? Whereas one seed of, say, a tomato plant means you have multiple tomatoes. So, you know, in one sense, the value ratio is different. But for me personally, just because we eat so much of the cole crop anymore, we kind of have a low nightshade diet going on just because of some health issues that I've had. I've had some diet restrictions that I just have to adjust into, and honestly, I've just found that the cole crops are probably my most valuable crop for the entire year. So I will be focusing more on the fall garden really overall compared to the summer garden probably going forward, just because that's where I have the most bang for my buck and the most value overall as a grower. And this just kind of goes to show you that just because you're supposed to grow something doesn't mean that you have to, guys. You don't have to grow tomatoes. You don't have to grow peppers. You can grow what is valuable for you and your family in your space, and you can do it unapologetically. So don't let anybody, including myself, tell you what you should or should not grow. You need to decide what is valuable to you, and then you need to figure out a way to grow it. And if you are having trouble doing that, please feel free to reach out and let me know, because I do one-on-one garden coaching. That's right, I do one-on-one garden coaching, and I would love to be able to help you be successful in growing your garden right where you're at. So please, please, please feel free to tap the link in the description box below. You can book a one-on-one live call with me, and we will walk through what you need to do. We'll sit down and we'll discuss your challenges and how to overcome those and get the results that you're looking for in your garden space. That's really what that coaching session is about, is you growing successfully where you are, no matter where that is. All right, so we've got the mini broccoli in. And now I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to sow some of those Napa cabbage in this last little area here. I think that will be all right, friends. So that's it. We are planted up with our very first seed tray for the fall season. So I'm going to stick these on the back porch steps, just because it's going to be warm there, but it's going to not be in direct sun to where they will get sun scorched. So the one balancing act that I have to do this time of the year, I'm not going to stick these directly into the greenhouse because our greenhouse gets way, way too hot for that kind of nonsense. So instead of putting it, in the greenhouse, I'm going to put it on the porch. Like I said, it'll be warm because it's ambiently warm outside, but there's not going to be a bunch of direct sunlight on it, so that when the initial seedlings come up, they don't get scorched, because they really don't like a lot of high heat. They need the warmth to germinate and to grow on and get some size on them, but we don't want to, I guess you could say, overindulge them in that department. So that's where they're going to go. Also, I don't know if I just mentioned this or not, so I'll mention it again, but I topped these guys with some vermiculite. Now I'm wondering if this was part of my problem, if I didn't have enough vermiculite on my spring seedlings. This is going to help keep that weird green mossy fungus stuff that tends to grow on the top. If you're in a damp climate, that will happen more, particularly in these kind of self-watering trays. I've noticed they're way more prone to it. So topping with vermiculite definitely helps that, because that fungus will eat into your seedlings, into the stems, and kill them, and they'll, you'll have to just start all over, and let's not do that right now. Yeah, not today, Satan, kind of a thing. So I'm wondering if I just didn't have enough vermiculite on my spring seedlings. Also, it is protective as far as pests go, and there's a good probability that these guys may be spending a little bit of time in the house on the dining room table. Not saying that happens all the time, but it kind of does, like, all the time. So don't feel bad if you have to do what you have to do for your seedlings, because hey, you get cabbage in the end. That's all I'm going to say about that. So these guys are good to go. We are good to go. I am going to go on ahead and put a direct link to some fall garden planting content if you would like to get a little bit more of a taste and an idea of what you can grow in your space in the fall, and you can see what the process is and what it looks like and how possible it is for you in your space where you are. So as always, guys, keep it simple, natural, and essential. We will see you on the next video, and don't forget to sign up for that one-on-one coaching call. I would love to help you grow exactly where you are. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.